All right. Oh, kia ora, everybody. Welcome. Um, Thank you so much for being here on a significant milestone for our Labour campaign. Today, our message to New Zealanders is very clear. Better is possible and better starts now. New Zealanders want to see a government that's focused on the things that matter most to them. More affordable household bills, making sure your own hard work pays off, making sure that every New Zealander can access healthcare when they need it, and making sure that everybody has a place to call home. That is what Labour's campaigning on at this year's election. New Zealand simply cannot afford 3 more years of national. 3 more years of national means more cuts, more division, more pain, and higher costs. New Zealanders can't afford that. Better is possible, better starts now. Happy to take questions.
Did you land on this slower?
It conveys the message that we're sending to all New Zealanders. Better is possible and better starts as soon as there is a change of government. We need change if we want better as a country.
Okay, so what exactly will start to set out?
The key things that we're campaigning on: more affordable household bills, making sure that people can actually get work and work that's well paid in a more vibrant economy, making sure New Zealanders can access healthcare they need when they need it, and making sure everybody has a place to call home. We've already set out a significant range of policies in all of those areas, and there's more to come.
Will better start now apply to Labour's polling?
Our campaign is kicking up a gear today. We've got to get out there and win every single vote that we can. My message to New Zealanders is if you want a country that's better, a country that your kids are going to want to stay in and make their future in, you need to vote for change at this election, because 3 more years of this government means 3 more years of cuts, 3 more years of pain, 3 more years of higher costs.
What do you make a national slogan known?
The National Party can't be trusted on anything. Some of the taxes that they're now saying they don't want to do, they've already done in this year's budget. Nicola Willis and Christopher Luxon now need to say how they're going to make their own numbers add up. They introduced a bank levy in this year's budget, which they now say they don't want to do. They said that they were going to cap the amount people can receive in tax rebates when they make charitable donations. David Seymour said he's going to scrap that. Winston Peters has said he's scrapping the cuts to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs that they've already pledged in this year's budget. He also wants to renationalise the BNZ. There's another $20 billion. Add to that David Seymour's $2 billion for new cancer hospitals, which he doesn't seem to know where the money's coming from off of that. Another $1 billion from New Zealand First for subsidising the oil and gas industry that they've already promised. It's about time they started to explain how they're going to make their own numbers add up.
When National said they won't go with a bed tax, what's your view on that? Is it something that would be useful, you'd like to see?
Christopher Luxon signed up to a bed tax when he signed this regional deal with Auckland. It shows, once again, that Christopher Luxon's own signature is not worth the paper that it's printed on.
What's Labour's policy, though?
We've said that that's a matter for local government. If local government wants to introduce a bed levy to fund the tourism infrastructure they need, then that's a question for them, and ultimately they're accountable to their local electors for that decision.
Will end up being a kingmaker? Do you think you can work with them? Can you get a bill?
We're certainly not going to be working with any of the parties that form the current government, so National Act and New Zealand First. As to which other parties are in Parliament, those are ultimately questions for the voters. We clearly have a lot in common with the Green Party in terms of values that we share. We've worked with them before and we could do so again. The Māori Party have still got some internal issues to work out. And with regard to TOP, they're relatively new on the scene, and it's not entirely clear yet at this point whether they want to be part of a right-wing government or a change of government.
Whose streaming companies pay enough tax?
Oh, look, I know that people want to... Oops, I think we're just...
Is that a sign?
We're not introducing a streaming levy or an additional tax on the streaming service.
No, that's not the question. The question is, do you think that streaming companies pay enough tax?
If they're avoiding tax in New Zealand, we're always open to having conversations about that. The challenge there is that that's going to have to be a multinational effort rather than one just here in New Zealand, because otherwise they could just relocate their revenue to other countries, which is what they're doing at the moment.
But other countries have introduced a revenue levy. You guys seemed keen on that until the bill was pulled. So, what's the issue there?
Yeah,
Do they pay enough tax or not?
we're not doing that.
When you were told your supporters, you said it's time to lift the energy.
Yeah.
Do you think that's been an issue up till now?
We've been focused on making sure that we're holding the government accountable for what they have been doing to New Zealand. Now our job is to go out there and show New Zealanders that better is possible. So our campaign shifts a gear. We move from being opposition to telling New Zealanders what a what an alternative vision for the country looks like. So you are going to see quite a significant shift in gear for Labor from this point onwards.
And on that, there are a lot of New Zealanders at the moment who might be feeling a little bit confused about what way they want to go, who they want to trust. What's your message to those people who are maybe on the fence? What can you promise them?
Two things. We can't afford 3 more years of national. That would be more cuts, more pain, and higher costs. Under a Labor government, you'll get a government that's focused on the things that matter most to you, tackling household bills, making sure that you can get a good, well-paid job here in New Zealand, making sure you can access healthcare when you need it, and making sure that everybody has a place to call home.
How does the country fix underspending on infrastructure and increase health workforce without lifting some taxes?
We've set out our own fiscal plan, which sets out the detail of what we will spend and how we will fund that over the next 4 years once the government have done the same. So they have to release the official forecasts first, and then we can do that. But what we set out yesterday was a fiscal strategy that does commit us to additional investment in New Zealand's future.
And how does it do that without lifting taxes? Are you saying that the capital gains tax will be enough?
We're campaigning for one new tax, which is a simple targeted capital gains tax, but there'll be different priorities in terms of how we spend the money that's already earmarked for spending. We think that we can do a better job of that. There's a lot of money that's sitting there at the moment that's been budgeted for major infrastructure projects, for example, that's not currently being spent.
Will there be policy announcements this week?
There'll be
Okay.
plenty. There's going to be quite a bit of policy. There'll be a few more this week, and obviously we're getting into that phase of the election campaign where there'll be policy announcements coming on a fairly regular basis from here on in.
And anything for Christchurch or Canterbury? Every time you guys come here, I ask you what you've got for this place. So what have you got for Christchurch or Canterbury?
Well, everybody in Christchurch, I mean, I've been here quite a bit in the last few weeks. You know that because you've been asking me these questions. Everybody in Christchurch says that their number one issue is the cost of living. And that's why I'm making the cost of living the number one issue for us during this election campaign. We want to see Christchurch and the South Island getting its fair share of things like infrastructure spending, including in transport. And so we'll have more to say on that as we go along. But as I've also pointed out last week, making sure that we're spending more money in terms of infrastructure on maintaining the assets that we've got will ensure the South Island gets a greater share than if we just focused on new roads of national significance that predominantly sit in the top half of the North Island.
National's announced policy on the third tower of Christchurch Hospital, or what's Labor going to do?
Well, they're completing a project that Labor started.
Right,
So, welcome to the party is what I would say to them. Labor's track record there speaks for itself. We funded that tower block. We also funded the schools rebuild after the Canterbury earthquakes, which the national government promised but didn't fund. We funded it, and now Christchurch schools have some of the best facilities in the country.
So Labor would match National's pledge?
Oh, we will absolutely make sure that tower block is finished. We started it. We want to see it through to fruition.